Hey, what's up folks? Silent X here, Competent Gamers. And folks, today we are going to be talking about something that is near and dear to my heart, and that's being a gaming parent. So you know what? If you're like me, you've grown up with gaming and now you are raising the next generation of gamers. But how do we try to strike that right balance? You know what I mean? Like, how do we make sure that our kids have fun, stay safe, also learn some valuable lessons along the way? And so in today's one-on-one, we're going to be talking about the pros and the cons of raising gaming kids and how we as parents can be responsible while still having fun together. So grab your controllers, maybe a cup of coffee. Actually, for me, it'll be a cup of mint tea. And let's dive into this. So let's go. Okay, folks, so let's start off by talking about the pros of gaming. So gaming with your kids, it isn't really just about having fun. It's also a fantastic way to kind of bond. And here's why. One, you guys get that quality time together. Games can be a shared experience, especially when you're playing games that are like co-op or even like team up against, you know, a common challenge or something like that. For me and my kids, we have had the best memories and craziest disagreements and arguments, kind of defeating tough bosses or finish off a level or going up against just a difficult team. You know what I mean? That sense of teamwork really builds trust and communications in ways that really few other activities can actually do. Another thing is learning problem solving and critical thinking skills. See, video games often require strategy, patience, and quick thinking. So, whether you're trying to figure out a puzzle in games like Zelda or even plan out a build in Minecraft, these kind of games kind of teach our kids how to really think creatively and critically. Another pro is hand-eye coordination and technical skills. Now, believe it or not, gaming improves that hand-eye coordination. And this might sound like a small thing, but when your kid is, a pro at navigating menus or building and just aiming using like twin stick controls, it really shows that they're developing their reflexes and their technical skills, which actually could even lead to a career in tech or esports. A good example of this is our eldest Ty the Great 09. So when it came to gaming, we actually put a controller in his hands at around 18 months, I believe it was. And the whole thing it was in Halo 2, and his job was to follow data around on a map. And we were amazed of how quickly he picked up using twin sticks controls, and he was able to do that. And then kind of going even further, now I would say that at my age, or I should say at his age, he is way further than I am in gaming. Like, he's way more advanced, as well as Lee the Lion 13. He also, I see him playing in, games like Apex Legend, and this kid he's better than me. He is better than when it comes to reflexes and just that kind of skill he has picked up, and I've seen it also in the Lady Faye. I mean, all of them have surpassed where I was, at that age. So yeah, there's really some pros to being a gaming parent and watching your kids and helping them along the way. Okay, so we talked about the pros. Now we need to flip the coin and talk about the cons of raising gaming kids. Of course, it's not all power-ups and level ups. Good Lord, that sounded so corny. But I'm gonna leave it in. Like anything, there are challenges also, like for one, screen time overload. As much as we love gaming, too much of any good thing can lead to problems, and excessive screen times can definitely affect their sleep, grades, and even social interactions outside of the virtual world. So how exactly do we find that balance? So I'll tell you what, more on that in a minute. Let's get back to that. But another con is exposure to toxicity. Now, we've all been there, you know, the toxic game lobbies and the not so family friendly language. While it's a reality of online gaming, it's something that we have to protect our kids from. It's important that we have this conversation about respectful behavior and just setting boundaries on what types of games are okay to play. So being a gaming parent, we have had questions from other parents who don't necessarily game about, you know, what is an appropriate game for their child. And that is that question is it's quite loaded. Reason being, every child is different. And so this is where the parent has to really step into that role of knowing what their child or children can handle. For ours, you know, our kids, first-person shooter games was never an issue, because what we did was there was a lot of talking, there's a lot of communication, there's a lot of, you know, describing what's going on with the screen, to the points where, you know, our kids could separate that gaming world from reality. Now, clearly, there are certain games that are just, we will not let them play. You know, if something is too gory, if it has too much sexualized images in there, if the language is just obtusely crude, then yeah, that's where we put our boundaries up, and we don't allow the kids to partake in those type of games at all. Now, when they get older, you know, we'll see. We'll keep coming back and re-examining and seeing where we kind of stand with that. All in all, that's why monitoring, you know, online interactions is so crucial. So now that we have the pros and the cons, you know, how can we be responsible gaming parents? So how do we strike that balance? Here are some tips of how we can make sure that gaming stays fun, healthy, and productive for both you and your kids. One thing that pops in my head is setting time limits. Now, it's okay to enjoy long sessions every now and then, but then, you know, you gotta set some ground rules. Whether it's using parental controls or agreeing that no gaming until homework is done, you know, when it comes down to it, structure is the key. You can even gamify, you know, the time limit, saying, you know, you have 2 hours to game, you know, use it wisely. So for us, we definitely utilize the, you know, no games until homework is done, chores are done. We also establish a certain number of hours they can game, as well as the certain number of days they can game. With these three structures, I think we've struck a nice little balance of not allowing the kids to just totally lose themselves in gaming. Another thing you can think about is actually playing together. One of the best things you can do as a gaming parent is actually to game with your kids. It really gives you an insight into, you know, what they're playing, and you can be a good role model for sportsmanship. Plus, it's just more fun to play together. That's one of the things I love to do, and actually the whole Confident Gamer crew does. My wife plays with the kids, I play with the kids, we all play together. For Apex Legends, for example, Leader Lion 13 and myself, we play a lot of Apex together. And it's amazing to hear the interaction that goes on. Also, playing with other people, and when they find out that, you know, Lee is playing with his dad, you know, we always get that, you know, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Wait, what? Just this surprise, and, you know, this kind of, man, I wish my dad, or I wish my parent would play with me or play with me. And it's encouraging and funny when that happens. Even better just to hear Lee just kind of, yeah, that's my dad and he plays with me. It's really a proud moment for a gaming parent. I would say 80% of the time on Apex we play duos, so it's just us, and the other 20% of the time we would just grind out like ranked, as well as just that moment when, you know, your child is saying, hey, you know, can you play this game with me, because I'm the randos that I'm playing with, they're getting on my nerves. So, you know, definitely look into playing together with your kid. Another thing is, you know, teaching digital citizenship. Now, it is super important to teach your kids about just online safety, who they should be talking to, how to handle in-game purchases, and of course, what to do if they encounter bullying or just inappropriate content. Keep an open dialogue and just make sure that they know that they can come to you with anything. Again, this is an area that is super important to us. At a very young age, we made sure that our kids knew, and that foundation was set, that as their parents, we are an area of trust. They can bring anything to us. They can bring any concern to us. And I think we have done a fairly decent and a fairly good job with that, because each of the kids have brought something where, you know, in their own ways, they've said, you know, this person is saying this to me, or if the game has, like, you can actually see the interaction, the chat, you know, call us and it's like, you know, hey, this person is saying this, and being able to have that with them, one, it really boosts our trust with them, and, you know, vice versa. And then that gives us a chance to be able to, one, either instruct them of the proper ways to go about things, how to handle it. If they can't handle it, then that's where we can step in and we can report it to whichever authority is needed to be reported to, or even, you know, maybe we just not play that game. So far, you know, whatever actions we have taken, the kids trust our decision with that. But that's something that, you know, you as a parent, you have to build that up in the kids. Okay, folks, so there you have it. Being a gaming parent is really all about balance. And you know what? It's okay to let your kids game as long as we're the one that's setting the boundary, you know, staying involved and, you know, making it a positive part of their development. And so if you're a gaming parent, let me know in the comments, you know, what games do you love to play with your kids? And if you have any tips or stories that you want to share, please share them in the comments section. We're all in this together. And like always, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and click that bell icon so you'll never miss another upload. Again, until then, I am Silent X. We're Confident Gamers. Real gamers keep gaming. Hey parents, it's time to level up. All right, catch y'all in the next one-on-one. All right, later. Peace. Love y'all.